Okay, so what I chose to learn today and actually in the next few weeks is the chapter Eshet Chil, the woman of valor, that we sing or our husbands sing or say every Friday night. It's a beautiful chapter and it's about the feminine energy, okay? It's called Eshet Chil, the woman of valor. And then I'd be happy to hear from you. We finished more or less, I think, almost all the women in the Tanakh. I mean, we could start with more. I figured for a change, we did about 30 women plus. I'll send you, I said last week I'll do it, but I'll do it in Mirz Hashem during the week. I'll send you the list of all the women we went through to see who we missed. So I figured we'll take a break and learn the chapter of Eshet Chil, which describes the power of a woman. You know, the modern world talks about empowerment and empowerment and empowerment. And Baruch Hashem, I could say for myself as a Lubavitcher chassid, I've been hearing since a child that I was speaking about the strength of a woman, the power of a woman, and the feminine energy. And I didn't realize that women are looking for empowerment. I just thought it's built in and you just have it. I come from great, powerful women. I had the merit of meeting two grandmothers, which not all people my age after the Holocaust and World War II had the merit to know their grandparents. And Baruch Hashem, my grandmothers survived World War II. So I did see powerful women. But many didn't, and without studying properly, have that feeling of women are not powerful in their own way, in their own right, and the world went out into looking into feminism and looking into empowerment of women. So I figured let's go to our sources and find it. Okay. So let me see, I'll share a screen. Okay. This is it's in the Proverbs, Mishlei, chapter 31. But the Eshet Chil starts, where am I? No. Where did I go now? Chapter 31. 30, that's chapter 31. Chapter 31. Okay. It's chapter 31, but Eshet Chil starts from the 10th verse in chapter 31. So what is the background to it? Okay, so there are many, it was written by Shlomo HaMelech, like all the Proverbs were written by Shlomo HaMelech. And there's three opinions of what who is and or what is he referring to when he says Eshet Chil. Who is he referring to? So if you recall many classes ago, I mentioned this Eshet Chil, that he refers to his mother Bathsheba. When we learned about Bathsheba, we mentioned this proverb, this chapter 31, that Shlomo HaMelech wrote in her merit, and we'll soon discuss that story. So this is a son writing to his mother. Another commentary, I mean, another way of looking at it is it's a husband to his wife. It's talking here about a couple. And the commentaries explain that this is what Abraham said on Sarah. When it says that Abraham came to bury Sarah in Hebron, it says he eulogized her and then he cried. And our Chachamim ask, what did he say? What was the eulogy? It doesn't say what it was. It just says he came to eulogize her, lispod lisara, velifkota, and to cry for her. So many of the commentaries say that first he eulogized, that was for the public. Lifkota was when he was on his own by himself. So what is the eulogy? So many of the Chachamim tell us that it is ashet chil, that he said it 1,000 years more before Shlomo HaMelech wrote it down in Mishlei, in the Proverbs chapter 31. Okay, another a commentary, which is the third one, and Rashi mentions it. Rashi says it, that it's actually Shlomo Melech is talking about the Torah. The Torah and the Jewish people are like a couple. And here he's describing that Hashem and the Jewish people are a couple, and it's like a proverb. It's an example. It's a mashal, you say in Hebrew. A mashal that the woman is the Torah, and her husband is God, and the children are the people, the Talmidei Chachamim, or ourselves, who are learning the Torah. Okay, so Eshet Chayil, according to Rashi and other Mefarshim, is actually describing the Torah. So we have here, it's a couple, it's mother and child, and it's the Torah. And we could take it in all three levels, especially us as women. We go through that in our lives. We are, if we're wives, we're part of a couple. Then if we're blessed with children, we are mothers of children. And of course, we are people who are Jews who keep the Torah. So we could look at the Eshet Chayil from all three perspectives, okay? Now, so let's start with the chapter. It starts with Divrei Lemuel, Melech. Melech Masa, asher yisarto imo. Here it tells us, this is the words of Shlomo HaMelech when his mother admonished him. And when did his mother admonish him? Okay, we know Bathsheba lived quite long. Into Bathsheba, we learned, was David HaMelech's wife, and she was the mother of Shmuel Hanavi. From her, from Shlomo HaMelech. From her comes the dynasty of Malchut Bet David, the royal kingdom of the Jewish nation. Her son was Shlomo HaMelech, who built the Bet HaMikdash, and it was the best times for the Jewish people. He ruled Midan ve'ad Beersheva, and everybody kept Torah and mitzvot. And David HaMelech prepared Israel, Yerushalayim, Har HaBayit for his son Shlomo HaMelech to build on it Bet HaMikdash. Okay. After he builds it, and the Torah goes into the details, the Nach, Melachim, goes into the details of how he builds the Bet HaMikdash, we're told that on the day of the Chanukah Tabayit, we're talking here about the first Bet HaMikdash, Shlomo HaMelech marries the daughter of Paro, which is a story for itself. Maybe after we finish at Eshet Chayil, we'll go into that story. He marries Bat Paro. Bat Paro, her agenda was to get Shlomo away from serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to serve her gods. Okay, so what did she do? She kept him up a whole night with, it says, with a lot of wine, with a lot of instruments being played in their room. And the Chachamim also say She covered the ceiling of their bedroom, and the canopy above their bed, with black material that had stars on it. That when you open up your eyes, you feel that it's night, it looks like night, and it's not day yet. What happened was, this was the first day of the Bet HaMikdash. The Kohanim had to bring up the Korban Tamid, which is brought up in the morning. It's a very, very important Korban. It's morning and evening. Okay, Korban Tamid. It's Baboker and Ben Abayim towards the evening. It's a constant. It teaches that you have to do things constantly. It's not like the Shabbos Korban or the Musaf Korban or the holiday Korban. This is a constant, which is one of the big lessons of Judaism, of Yahadut, is that you have to do things constantly. You know, it's not once in a while, tefillin, and once in a while. It's good, those things too, but actually we have to really get to try to do things on a constant basis. So this was like the first day, and they came to bring the korban. Bet HaMikdash was locked. The keys of Bet HaMikdash were under King Shlomo's pillow. Only the Kohen, the king, could open the Bet HaMikdash. And he was sleeping, because every time he got up, she said, look, the stars are still shining. It's still night. This was part of her agenda to start little by little. And it's interesting, it's the continuity and the constant, the Korban Tamid. This was the first thing she attacked, that they shouldn't be able to bring up the Korban. And Kohanim or anybody, nobody's allowed to wake up a king. Then the Kohanim realized the only one that could wake up the king is his mother. Nobody's above the mother, right? So they went to Bathsheba, who was an elderly woman. They went to Bathsheba and they told her, the king is not getting up. We do not have the keys to the Bet HaMikdash. We cannot bring up the Korban Tamid. So she woke him up. And then he realized what kind of wife he took, and what her real purpose was of marrying him, and what her agenda was. And he sent her away, of course. And to compare his mistake of that woman to a real, true, devoted wife and woman, and a woman of valor, he wrote down ashet chil. Okay, so this is how this chapter starts. It's the words of Lemuel. Lemuel is a name for Shlomo, with which his mother admonished him. And she said to him, Ma bri uma bar bitni ume bar nidarai. Know, my son, know, O son of my womb, know, O son of my vows. Do not give strength to women, your vigor to those who destroy kings. Shlomo HaMelech's great, we could say he had one fault, was that he married too many women and bought too many horses. I'm not comparing, but those are the two things that he had a lot of. And she says to him, wine is not for king, O Lemuel, not for kings to drink, nor any strong drinks for princess. Lest they drink and forget which has been ordained, and infringe on the rights of the poor. Give strong drinks to the hapless and wine to the embittered. Let them drink and forget their poverty and put their troubles out of mind. Okay, she's saying you don't need to be numbed and taken out of, a drink. wine is good in the right context, but when it's in the wrong context, it's the reason behind it is usually to take us out of our reality, to take us to a certain other place, to take us out of our limitations. It's usually people who are struggling with things in life, and they drink to be able to either numb themselves or just to be transported in their minds to a different place. So she says, you don't need it. Lest they drink and forget what has been ordained. You know, don't do it. You'll forget what your purpose in life is. He says, let them drink and forget their poverty and put their troubles out of mind. But you speak up for the dumb and for the rights of all the unfortunate. You can't join with drink. You have to speak up for them. And you have to fight for their rights. You're the king. Speak up, judge righteously, champion the poor and the needy. You do your job. Let them drink and you champion for them. Speak up for them. She's telling him what he's supposed to do. And these are the first 9 verses of chapter 39. And verse 10 starts the song, what we know, what is said every Friday night before the Kiddush, ashet chil. Okay, I do want to also add that there are many mefarshim, many commentators sages say that ashet chil is the woman of valor is actually talking about Shabbat. Shabbat, and that's why we sing it on Shabbat and say it on Shabbat. Shabbat is a feminine. 6 days of the week is masculine. Shabbat is feminine. It's malchut. It's royalty. Shabbat HaMalka, the Shabbos queen. And what's beautiful, it talks about the feminine energy. And on Shabbat, everybody has to connect to the feminine energy. I mean, if we take it into Kabbalah, we are going through the 7,000 years of the world. This first 6,000 years are masculine energy, and now we're going into the time of feminine energy, because we are in the year 5,781, right? Tafshin Pei Aleph 80. Pei Aleph. That means we are like on Friday afternoon, getting closer to Shabbat, which is the Geula, and Geula, redemption, is a feminine energy. Maybe that's why the world is so mixed up, because on Friday it's not clear what are the energies, masculine or feminine. You're finishing the masculine energy and you're starting the feminine energy. Or if you look into many homes on Shabbat, welcome, putting you on mute. In many homes, it's not clear who's in charge on Friday. And that's why sometimes Shabbos morning, like what happened to me on Friday night, like we didn't have the air conditioner on because I thought my husband's doing it and he was sure that it's my job. So we had no air condition because there's too many people in charge. It's a mix-up of masculine and positive energy. And that's why also HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Satan that in creation, when he looked at the world and he says, oh, it's so perfect that why'd you create me? There's no space where I could stick myself in and make trouble. So Hashem said, you know what, Friday afternoon, and that's why there's a lot of tension by certain families on Friday afternoon. They should know that it's God gave the Satan permission then to come make trouble. Don't take it to heart and don't schlep that dispute and argument into Shabbos day. Okay. So this is a little background on ashet chil. Okay. Now let's start it inside. All right. I love the first verse. I don't know if all of you know or any of you know. My father's business was, and we continue it, it's pearls. We are pearl importers. I probably am wearing pearls from the day or the first week that I was born. I was born in South America, in Brazil. And in Brazil, when a girl is born, or 65 years ago, when a girl was born, they pierced her ears right away. My mother said the first time she saw me after birth I was already with strings in my earlobes. And she said to my father, get her right away earrings. And I got my first pair of pearl earrings probably in the first week of my life. And I've been wearing pearl earrings since then. I don't know life without pearls. Why am I mentioning? If we look inside the first verse, it says, ashet chil mi yimtza, v'rachok mipninim michra. Okay, here he translates, what a rare find is a capable wife. The truth is, the pasuk is saying it really, ashet chil, who will find? Some say it's like a question. Who will find? Here, the translation that I have here, it says, what a rare find. It's like an explanation, like, wow, who could find an ashet chil? Her worth is far beyond that of, he translates it as rubies, but pninim is really pearls. And Rashi actually says pninim. How do we know it's pearls? Because, about air condition, my air condition just closed. Excuse me, I'm just going to put on my air condition because it's way too hot. Minim, pearls, come from, Rashi uses the expression lifnai velifnim, from the depths of the deep. And if you think of pearls, where they come from the bottom of the ocean, and they're not just laying there, they are also inside an oyster. That means you have to not only dive down to the bottom of the sea and take out oysters, then you have to open up there. It's covered within, it's housed. It's not a revealed thing. It's housed within an oyster. And also when you open up the oysters, I could show you, I have pearl oysters here at home. It's in the kishkis. You have to really look for it in between the tissues of the oysters to see if there's a pearl there. And this really personifies a woman. A woman connects to the depth, to things that are from within. If you recall our first class, I don't know who's here from the first class of Eshet Chayil, of women in Tanakh, we first discussed the difference between men and women in creation. We said men, Hashem created Adam from the earth, which is a revealed substance. It's from the earth which we see. It's the first thing we see, is the earth. Whereas a woman was created from within man, meaning our beginning stages is from something deep inside, from man. Even if you say that we're created like from the etzem, from the bone inside the man, that's again, God looked for from where should he create the woman, from what? And also when he decided to be from man, from what part of man? And he said from a part inside of him, because her essence is depth, it's inner strength. That's why it's etzem. Etzem from the word otzma. The bone is called the etzem. We come from the essence that comes from within. And if you see our personalities, it should be that we connect to deeper things that are within. We understand a hint. We look at a child. We don't just see, oh, he looks like me. He looks like you. He looks like my mother. He looks like your father, or something like that. We also see the personality, the depth of the person, of the child, the potential of the child. It's also the reason why when we go into a relationship, we look into the depth of the relationship versus masculine. Men look more on a superficial surface, more exterior connection, and it doesn't necessarily have to go very, very deep. I mean, I see it across the board in working with people, and things are changing because, as we said, we're bringing in the femininity into the world, that also influencing the world to look more into depth of things. And we discussed it, I think, once when we said Hasidus is feminine. So it comes after the Torah was given first, and then Hasidus came second, and that's how it was the creation of man and woman. Man came first Adam, and then Chava. We first see exterior, and then we see the interior. We look into the depth of things. So that's why I find it hard to see that it says here rubies, because pninim is from the word pnim, the depth, and he says rachok mipninim. A woman is compared to pearls and more. It's like it's far beyond that of pearls. Like pearls was used as a measuring stick, as something that is of great, great value and depth and meaning. It's not just a metal, like a diamond or any other precious metal. It symbolizes depth. So a woman is even greater than all that. And this is the first pasuk, which is interesting. An important thing to remember about Eshet Chayil, it's 20, from verse 10 till the end, it's 22 verses, and each verse goes according to the Aleph Bet. See, Eshet Chayil starts with the Aleph, the next one is Batach Balev Bala, is Bet, and then Gmalat Huto Velora is Gimel. It goes according to the 22 Hebrew letters of the alphabet. That's why it's also easy to sing and to remember it by heart, because if you get stuck, you just remember what letter you were up to, and then you go to the next letter in the alphabet. Here it's an interesting expression, Eshet Chayil. What does Eshet Chayil mean? Does it mean a wife of a chayal, a soldier's wife? No, it's saying that she is it's usually translated as a woman of valor. And here, actually, I like this translation, a capable wife, a woman of great capabilities. Hayal is a soldier, meaning, but I find in Hasidus, it gives us even more explanation. A soldier is a receiver. It receives orders, and it does. A soldier works on Kabbalat Ol. Kabbalat Ol means he listens. He listens. He doesn't just follow his own mind, because if we would have every soldier doing whatever he thinks is the right thing, we would have a big balagan. A soldier's first ingredient, first criteria for a good soldier is somebody who listens to, who could follow order, because otherwise there would not be an army. So on one hand, she's a woman with all her depth and capabilities, but she also has the strength of receiving orders, of accepting. I find it to be very powerful, because it's not making here a shmata out of women. It's saying she's a woman. She's not trying to make us into men. And it brings out the depth of the women and one of our basic things that women have above men is that we have Yirat Shamayim. Yirat Shamayim means accepting HaKadosh Baruch Hu and doing what Hashem says. We're like soldiers. We're the good soldiers. And that's why we don't have to wear a kippah. That's why we're born without needing a brit. It's all part of being a woman. You know, I don't want to go on into what's going on to the world, men trying to be women, women trying to be men. You could do outside changes, but it's not going to change something that's very deep and within us. And to make us the same and has nothing to do with equality. I want to share with you something that happened to me a little bit. I have to do tshuva on this, but I'll share it with you. Maybe it's part of my therapy. I belong to a group of Pirkei Avot. We've been learning Pirkei Avot, I think, for 35, 36 years already together, a big group that we meet every Shabbat, and somebody gives us a talk. And we learned together Pirkei Avot. You know, we started when we were young, and we're still continuing. And so we've been learning Pirkei Avot for from Pesach till Tisha B'Av. 2 years ago, I was in charge of it, so I continued till Rosh Hashanah in our Bet Chabad. But it went back now to the person who started it, organizing it. Anyway, so it's till Tisha B'Av. So we do it 2 or 3 times a year. So and for 35 years. So, you know, we have learned a lot of Pirkei Avot. And I'm sure you know, this week we learned Perek Aleph. And in Perek Aleph of Pirkei Avot, we have a very interesting Mishnah that says, Al tarbesi chayim ha'isha, do not speak too much to women, to the woman. And it says, the woman, it means your wife. And if you learn not to speak so much to your wife, you will also you learn from this not to speak too much to other women. And it says there that whoever speaks too much to other women, his end will be bad. Okay? So every year I hear when we read it, women going, ooh, you know, comments, smirks, all different type of, you know, so first year, second year, third year, 1 year I explained it to them, another year I explained it to them. And this week again, we were reading it. You see, first we have somebody speak and then we read, just go one pasuk after another. So when we came to this pasuk, the ladies read it and I heard the women like smirking, laughing and this. So I got upset, you know, me, redhead, can't hold myself back. And I said, you know, it's about time we stop, you know, laughing at this thing. The Mishnah says it, the Chachamim said it, our speaker just told us that Pirkei Avot is part of the Torah. We have to understand it with Kabbalat Ol and understand it properly instead of, it's not nice that we, the women who meet every Shabbat for 35 years, are still not accepting and laughing at this Mishnah. And there's one thing we have to understand. I said, look what's going on around us. Look, open up the newspapers. I mean, nobody opens newspapers now. Everybody opens up their phones, but I use the expression, open your newspaper. Look what's going on between the sexes. Look what's going on between men and women. If we want to take down all boundaries, that means you are nullifying, neutralizing, nurturing people from being their natural selves. And also it means that you don't realize the power of women. It's not an insult. It's not an insult, the Mishnah. The Mishnah is actually saying, be careful. This is a powerful thing, a woman. Don't talk too much because you're playing with energies. You're playing with, you know, fire. I'm not saying fire, but it's with energies. Okay, so maybe one day after we finish ashet chil, I'll tell you my tshuva, what I have to correct, my bursting out. I have to remember not to always say what I think and to be more careful, because later women came over to me and said, okay, we need a class, a good class on this. I said, okay, Sat Hashem, one of the Shabbosim will discuss the powers between men and women. And I think here Eshet Chil speaks about it beautifully. Speak the power of women. Then when you hear that the Torah says to the man, don't talk that much, it's talking about talk, communication. Communication is a powerful thing. Be careful. Don't misuse things and it's different energies. It's the energies of a mashpia and a mekabel, a giver and a receiver. Here in Eshet Chayil, we will learn about the ultimate woman that is a receiver and gives further. She's not a dead end receiver. She receives energy and she gives it further. That's why she's called Eshet Chayil, a woman that's also a chayal. Okay? And he uses the word mi yimtza, who will find, who can find, meaning it's something that you have to look for. It's not something that happens. You have to look for. In the Torah, in the Talmud, it tells us that, I wrote down the source. Okay, in the Gemara, it says that in Israel, when a person got married, they used to ask him under the chuppah, motzeh or matzah? Do you find or did you find? One is in past and one is in present. Motzeh or matzah? What does it mean? What are Chachamim saying? What was that custom to ask a groom under the chuppah, motzeh or motzah? So they explain that there's two verses in the Torah. One is which is in Mishlei, in the Proverbs, matzah isha matzah tov. Whoever finds a wife, a woman, finds good. Okay, and then there's another verse that's written in Kohelet that says, motzeh ani ma mimavet et haisha. I find the woman as bitter as death. Okay, the one is found a woman found good, and another one is I find the woman as bitter as death. So what is the custom? To ask a husband under the chuppah, motzeh or matzah? Which verse are you is in your marriage? But under the chuppah, he doesn't know his marriage yet. He just got married 5 minutes ago. So why did they ask him under the chuppah? It's actually telling him, it's up to you. It's the way you look at your wife. If you look at her as matzah isha matzah tov, that I found a good wife, and you'll see everything positive, that's the way it's going to be. But if you go motzeh ani et isha mar mimavet, that I find the woman to be bitter as death, then you will find a lot of things that will make you unhappy. Meaning it's your way of looking at it. And it's interesting that here in Eshet Chayil, it uses the same verse, the same verb. Eshet Chayil mi yimtza. Yimtza means to find. A woman of valor who could find. In other words, you have to look for it. You song to the man. Or if it's sung about the Torah, it's sung to the people who study Torah. Or if it's sung about Shlomo Melech to his mother, a child to his mother. Find the good things. Don't just look at the things she told you not to do and you can't do. She was educating. Find the benefits of all the things that she taught you. As a child, you thought she was limiting you. You can't play in the mud, and you can't eat this too much sugar, and you have to go to sleep on time. When you're an adult, you will see. That's why it's written Yimtza. You'll find out how valuable all these things that your mother taught you. And also about Shabbat. I know when I teach people and I help people trying to keep Shabbat for the first time, they're petrified. And I understand them. I have to stop this and I have to leave go of that, and who will find me and not be with my phone, and what happens if, and what will I do a whole day? And I said, try it. You will see. Look at the positive, not all the do's that you're not on Shabbos. They're afraid that right away get the list of do's. Find the beauty of Shabbat, the beauty of disconnecting, and the beauty of everything else. Okay, my internet is falling apart. Do you still hear me? I'm having big problems with my internet. You hear me? Anybody? Just nod your head if you do. You do. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the truth is I'm gonna stop here, okay? And we will continue next week. We won't be taking 22 classes to learn this. It is 22 verses. We will be doing like 5 verses, 6 verses at a time. So we will do it like in another 2 times or so. Bezrat Hashem, we'll learn ashet chil, and we'll learn to sing it. I could even teach you a nice tune. Okay, take care.
Yashar Korach, wow. Yashar Korach, excellent. Bye.